taking the time to listen to me today. Before I start my talk, I just want to say congratulations to everyone here, because running your own business is bloody hard work. And I know I've been doing it for nearly 20 years now, and I work with a lot of small business owners, so I know what we're going through. So I'd just like everyone to congratulate themselves. And the way I'd like you to do that is to find the little clappy hands thing on your screen, so you can all celebrate each other and themselves for being here in business. I can see Fiona's and Joy's. Yeah, okay. I'm still looking for Nick and Michael in the corner. Right, okay, I'll crack on. Well done. I always like to start my presentations with what I want you to take away from it, because that way you're more likely to. So what I'd like you to take away is thinking about your business as a brand is really, really, really important. I was going to add more reallys, but I think you get the idea. It's really important. Now, this is my favorite phrase: when you're inside the jar, you can't read the label. This sums up pretty much every small business owner. We're so busy doing that we don't have time to think about our business as a brand. This is what keeps me going, that over half the startups in the UK don't make it to their 5th birthday. I think that's a terrible statistic, and it's one that I'm on my own personal mission to change. Now, according to Forbes magazine, there are 8 main reasons why businesses fail. These include no vision, no niche, no marketing plan, and no consistency. So half the reasons why small businesses fail can be summed up as no brand. Now, the editor of Forbes magazine has famously said, your brand is the single most important investment you can make in your business. And you won't be surprised to think that I completely agree with him. Now, one of the issues that us small business owners have is this is what a normal business looks like. You have an executive board, you have the CEO, who has below him a board of directors, and then you have either directors or managers for all of these different services within a business. For us, there is no executive board. You are the CEO. There is no board of directors, and you are responsible for every single one of those parts of the business. Now, most people will complain that they don't have time to do everything in their business, which is completely understandable. But I actually sort of slightly disagree with that. The issue isn't so much time management, it's energy management. Because I think you'll all agree, if we find something we love doing, we find the time to do it. The problem with running a small business is we have to do so many things that we have no energy for. And one of those, for most people, not me, but for most people, tends to be their brand. They have no energy for the brand or for the marketing side of their business. And then the other issue, as solopreneurs and small business owners, we then tend, if we do it, to try and do it from our own thinking. And I honestly believe that it's impossible to create your own brand for your business, because you're so invested in that business that you can't see it from the external perspective of your ideal client. Even when I started my business, I got a brand consultant in to help me because I can't do it because I'm just too what happens is you tend to, because you know your business so well, you tend to miss bits out. You think, I won't say that because it's so obvious what I'm saying, so I just won't say it. And to everyone else, you're missing out the important stuff and they just go, I don't know what you're talking about. So trying to create your own brand is I think virtually impossible. So let's get down to what do I mean by a brand? When I started my first business nearly 20 years ago, and even Brand Satellite 13 years ago, and said I was a brand consultant, the most common reply was, but I've already got a logo. Your logo is not your brand. Now, I know there's people within my industry that will say your logo is your brand. I'm just going to really clear it up for everybody. Your logo is not your brand. Your logo is your branding. Your branding is everything you do visually, your logo, the colors, the typefaces you use, the images you use. So everything you do visually to help people recognize your business in the thousands of marketing messages that they see every day. Your brand is then what they think and feel about your business once they've recognized it. So your brand is, this is the best quote I've found on the internet for it. Your brand is the emotional and psychological connection your customers have with your company, product, or service. So it's all to do with connection, which is why I asked the question, the question for the breakout room, why is it that you like certain brands? And I know from the conversation I had in the breakout room, none of those were to do with rational reasons. It was all to do with emotional reasons, connections, memories, and stuff like that. That's what a brand is all about. And the other thing about your brand, it's the DNA of your business. It has to be everywhere through it. The big businesses know this, and they spend millions and millions making sure that everything they do is on brand. Unfortunately, small businesses don't. Now, every brand should start with your ideal client. If you don't have ideal clients, you can't have a brand. The brand's not about you, it's about them. And the sooner we realize that, the better. Now, was it 12 or so businesses on this call today? I can guarantee each one of you, I know exactly who your ideal client is. It's a human being. It's a human being that has to make a decision. And the thing about human beings is we are motivated and activated by emotions. We make our decisions using the emotional part of our brain. Hands up, yeah, hands up if you've heard of Simon Sinek. Yeah, if you haven't, he does a TED talk. Just Google Simon Sinek TED talk. It's for any business owner. It's the best 18 minutes of your life. Because what he talks about is people don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it. And the reason that is because we make decisions using the emotional part of that brain. Now, small business owners, we tend to communicate rational reason after rational reason. How many times have you stood up or visited a networking event and say there's an accountant there who'll tell you they'll do your VAT return, your end of year taxes, they'll do your payroll, they'll do this. That's all rational stuff. And the problem with rational stuff, if you compete rational stuff, someone's rational stuff against someone else's rational stuff, you're going to boil down to who does it cheapest, because you haven't connected with them. So the only thing they're going to do is they're going to compare the rational stuff, and then it's going to come down to price. Now, it's not just Simon and me that believe that connecting with the emotional part of the brain is important. There's an organization called the Independent Practitioners of Advertising. It's like a membership for all the big advertising agencies. And every year they run an effectiveness awards. And on the 40th anniversary of the effectiveness awards, they looked at all the data and they said, right, okay, let's analyze this, rational versus emotional. Those campaigns that targeted the emotional part of your brain, sorry, the rational part of your brain, got a 16% likely to buy. Those campaigns that targeted the emotional part of your brain got a 31% likely to buy. So if you talk to someone and try and talk to them emotionally, you're twice as likely to get them to buy. Now you probably say, well, look, surely a bit of both is the best way to do it. That's sat in the middle. So emotional connection wins. Next question is, how do we connect emotionally? Well, there's quite a few things that we can look at here. People. We've all heard the saying, people buy from people. And it's I believe with AI coming along, it will be more true than ever before. But people, you as a person and your ideal clients are two people that you know need to work and connect well. And these also, as you grow and you have more people, your people, the people within your organization, are going to be your best salespeople. So people are really important. Next, we have purpose. Why you're doing what you're doing, and the real reason behind why you're doing what you're doing is really important. Well, I've actually got a little exercise at the end where we can have a little go at just defining our purpose. Next is values. If you think about your friends, we are friends with people that share the same values with you. It's exactly the same with businesses. Again, when we talked in the breakout room, it was Danielle was talking about Patagonia and how that they share the same values. So it's really important that you know your values, and it's not a tick box exercise where you write down some values and then you stick them in a folder or you put them in your drawer and don't do them again. You need to live by your values day by day. I know I do. I have 3 and I live by them every single day. Next we get on to stories, and what's brilliant about stories is we've been telling stories since the caveman times. We're just so hardwired to listen to stories and absorb stories. And the other great thing about stories is if you tell an engaging story, people will repeat it. If you give someone a whole bunch of information, they'll pick out the bits that they think are most relevant. They may not be the most important bits that you want to talk about for your business. So if you tell an engaging story, as I say, they'll pretty much repeat it word for word. So if you can get that right, you know when they're talking about your business, when you're not in the room, they're saying the right things. And then finally on my list is emotions. I've already discussed that. So if you can work out what emotions your ideal clients are going through the decision-making process, and you can tap into those when you talk to them, they're much more likely to buy from you. So all of this is your brand. So what are the benefits of creating a brand? Why spend all this time, money, investment in it? Well, first of all, I call them the 3 C's. You'll get clarity. If you spend the time working out who your ideal clients are, what their emotions are, what their pain points and challenges are, and you also work out how you solve those problems and how you can become relevant to them, you'll be really clear about your business. You'll be really clear about who you should be talking to, and just as importantly, who you shouldn't be talking to. You don't want to waste your time and energy on the wrong people. So if you get your brand right, you won't be doing that. 3 years ago, I announced that I only work with purpose-driven businesses. Since then, I've never had a conversation with someone who's not a purpose-driven business. So I've saved myself a lot of time and energy. Once you're clear, you're very confident, and you're much more likely to go out there and talk to the right people. If you'll communicate who they are, so they know if they should be interested in what you've got to say or not. And they'll also know if it's not them, they'll have friends or colleagues that it might be, so they know who you want to talk to. And the last C I've added most recently, and this was through my group brand creation process and seeing how people change, is courage. You've got the clarity and the confidence about your business. You've got the courage to go out there, find the right people, charge the right prices, and grow your business. And the other benefits, your ideal clients will want to buy from you. So you'll have to, I believe you have to do less selling. You can talk about your business as a brand, they're more likely to buy. Once they do buy, there'll be loyalty. They'll buy from you again and again. And with that loyalty, they'll be prepared to pay more for what you're offering. Again, most of those brands that were talked about in the breakout rooms, they weren't the cheapest. They were people were prepared to pay money for value. And here's the best bit. They'll become advocates for your brand, selling your business for you, selling your business while you're not around. The power, we all know the power of referrals and person-to-person selling. That's what happens when you create a brand. So how do you go about creating a brand? Well, it's not a quick solution. You can if you want, and go on to ChatGPT and go create a brand for my business, but it won't give you the answer. These are some of the things that I take my clients through. There's a lot of thinking to be done. There's a lot of discussion to be done. There's a lot of research to be done, but all of this is needed to be done to create a brand. Obviously, I've got 15 minutes. I don't know how I'm doing. I think I've gone a little bit over, so I haven't got time to do all this today, but I'm going to give 3 quick tips. Find the time to think about it. We all, as I say at the very beginning, we're all so busy in our business doing things, and we don't find the time to think about it. Find the time to think about it. You'll be doing less of those things that stop you thinking about it, because once you've got your brand, you'll know what to say no to in your business as much as you know what to say yes to. Again, get that outside perspective. Doesn't have to be an expert like me. It can be other business owners, it can be friends, but don't try and do this and put out your brand without talking to other people and getting their opinion and their feedback on it, because trust me, you just can't do it yourself. Get other people's perspective on what you think your brand is. And then once you have it, live it. This isn't an exercise, again, that you work out your brand, you put it in a bottom drawer, and then you carry on doing all the doing in your business. You've got to live your brand. Now, to help, here's a little exercise that I do. It's called your purpose. What I'd like you to do, make a note of this, because we probably don't have time to do it today. We may do later. But if you can write a sentence that says, I help, and then explain who your ideal client is, and make that really clear, so that anyone hearing the sentence goes, that's me, I'm going to carry on listening, or that's not me, but I know so-and-so, because then you can talk to them. So I help to, and that's whatever you help them with. Now, this isn't a list of services. This is what you actually help them to do or achieve. And then the third part of it is so they can. So that's the benefits for them. What have you done to help them to achieve? I'll give you a quick example. This is mine. I help purpose-driven small business owners to think, look, and act like big brands, giving you and your customers clarity, confidence, and courage in your business. I haven't said that I do brand creation. I haven't said that I do branding. I haven't said that I do marketing, because everyone else that does brand creation, branding, and marketing will be saying exactly the same thing. So I'm not going to differentiate myself from them. So I'll just give you that back again quickly. So if you want to make a note of it, and as I say, we might even have time to do it in a breakout room. That'd be quite good fun. And then finally, a little advert for me. I run the 28-day brand launchpad. It's a group brand creation program where I take 8 to 10 small independent consultants and coaches through a 28 days of activities, where the most important thing is they all feed back on each other's work. So it's like having a board of directors for 28 days, helping you create your brand. I'm going to be starting the next one late August. So if anyone's interested, or if you know of anyone that you think would be interested, please let me know. Thank you very much.